The invitation came 3 weeks ago. Company gala. Black tie. Spouses encouraged to attend. My wife mentioned it exactly once, with the same enthusiasm most people reserve for dentist appointments. Then, 2 days before the event, she sat me down at the kitchen table. Her laptop was open, showing seating charts and guest lists. "I need you to understand how important this is," she said. "No good morning. No preamble. This gala is where partnerships get formed, where careers move forward." "I get it," I said. "Big night for you." "For us," she corrected, but her eyes stayed on the screen. "Just, please don't embarrass me. These are serious professionals. Keep conversations light. Don't bring up your work stories. And definitely don't order more than 2 drinks." I closed the fridge door I'd been holding open. "Embarrass you? You know what I mean." She clicked through something on her screen. "Last year at the holiday mixer, you spent 20 minutes talking to Evan from accounting about fishing. Nobody wants to hear about fishing. Evan brought it up. He asked me. Still." She shut the laptop. "This year, just try to blend in, okay?" I should have caught it then. The way she said blend in, like I was a stain she needed to hide. The night of the gala, I wore the suit she'd picked out. Navy blue, nothing flashy. She wore a dress that probably cost more than my truck payment. Deep green with some kind of wrap thing that looked elegant. Professional. She checked herself in the mirror 4 times before we left. The venue was downtown, one of those historic hotels with chandeliers and marble columns. Valets took the car. Inside, the ballroom glittered with exactly the kind of sophisticated atmosphere she'd been stressing about. She grabbed champagne from a passing waiter before we even cleared the entrance. "There's Donald," she said, steering us toward a cluster of people near the bar. "He's the senior director I told you about." I hadn't remembered her mentioning anyone named Donald, but I followed. The introductions went fine. Handshakes. Small talk about the venue. I mentioned the architecture was impressive, which earned polite nods. My wife laughed at Donald's joke about quarterly reports, touching his arm briefly. "And this must be your husband," Donald said, finally acknowledging me. "Yes," she said. No name, no introduction, just confirmation that I existed. "Pleasure," I said, extending my hand. "Likewise. Your wife here is absolutely brilliant. Saved our last 3 projects from complete disaster. She's good at what she does," I agreed. My wife smiled, but something in her posture shifted, like she was already angling away from me. "We should find our seats," she said, checking her phone. "Dinner starts soon." The seating chart was displayed on easels near the ballroom entrance. She walked up to it, scanned the layout, and her jaw tightened. "Problem?" I asked. "No, it's fine." She didn't look at me. "Actually, there's been a change. You're at table 12. I looked at the chart. Table 12 was in the back corner, near the kitchen doors. Her name was at table 1, front and center, marked as the head table for senior staff and their guests. Table 12, I repeated. It's just how it worked out. They had to adjust for some last-minute additions. She was already moving away, champagne glass gripped tight. "I'll catch up with you later." "Wait." I caught her elbow gently. "We're not sitting together? It's assigned seating." Her voice dropped. "Please don't make this difficult." "I'm not making anything difficult. I'm asking why my seat got moved to the back while you're up front. Because that's where they put spouses who aren't directly involved in the company." She pulled her arm free. "It's not personal." But it felt personal. I walked to table 12. 7 other people were already seated, most of them looking equally confused about their placement. Turned out we were the miscellaneous table. 2 spouses, 3 people from vendor companies, and 2 employees from facilities management. From my seat, I had a clear view of table 1. My wife sat down next to Donald. But it wasn't Donald that made my stomach drop. It was the man on her other side. Mid-30s, expensive suit, perfectly styled hair. He leaned close to say something, and she laughed, touching his shoulder the same way she'd touched Donald's arm earlier. Except this touch lingered. "That's Weston Copeland," said the woman next to me, following my gaze. "Eleanor's work husband." I turned. "Excuse me." "Sorry." She smiled apologetically. "That's what everyone calls them. They're on the same project team. Practically joined at the hip during work hours." "Right," I said. "The project team." My wife had mentioned Weston exactly twice in the past 6 months. Both times in passing. "Weston thinks we should pivot the strategy." Weston suggested a different approach. "Never, my colleague Weston. Or this guy at work. Just Weston. Like I should already know who he was. I watched them through the first course. He said something. She laughed. She said something back. He grinned. Their heads stayed close together even when the conversation should have included the whole table. When the main course arrived, he refilled her wine glass before she even had to ask. And she let him. During the speeches, I counted how many times she looked back toward table 12. 0. Not once. Weston whispered something during the CFO's remarks, and she covered her mouth to hide her laugh. I pulled out my phone, set it on silent, and placed it face down on the table. The woman next to me, Frances, I think she said her name was, made polite conversation about the food. I responded when appropriate, but I was doing math in my head, adding up small moments I'd ignored. Late nights, she blamed on Weston's project deadlines. Weekend work sessions that couldn't be done remotely. The way she'd started dressing differently for the office. The speeches ended. Dessert came. Coffee was offered. I stood up. "You okay?" Frances asked. "Yeah," I said. "Just need some air." I walked past table 1 on my way to the exit. My wife didn't notice. She was too busy laughing at something Weston had said, her hand resting on his forearm. The valet brought my car around. I tipped him, got in, and drove home. My phone stayed silent the entire 20-minute drive. She hadn't even noticed I left. I parked in the driveway, went inside, and finally looked at my phone. Nothing. I made coffee, changed into comfortable clothes, and sat down in the living room. The house felt different. Quieter. Like something had fundamentally shifted. My phone buzzed at 10:47 p.m. One new message. I set the phone back down without reading it, and took another sip of coffee. It buzzed again, and again, and again. By 11:15, I had 9 unread messages. I didn't open any of them. The coffee went cold while I stared at the notifications on my phone screen. 9 messages. 9 attempts to reach me after she finally noticed I'd disappeared. I picked up the phone and opened the messages. Might as well see what panic looked like in text form. Message 1, 10:47 p.m. Where are you? Simple. Direct. No concern yet. Just confusion that I wasn't where she expected me to be. Message 2, 10:52 p.m. Your phone is on. I can see you read this. Answer me. Demanding. That tracked. She was used to immediate responses. Message 3, 11:01 p.m. People are asking where you went. This is embarrassing. There it was. Not worried about me. Worried about appearances. About what people thought. About how my absence reflected on her. Message 4, 11:08 p.m. Okay, I get it. You're upset about the seating thing. Can we please talk about this like adults? The seating thing. Like that was the only issue. Like I'd thrown a tantrum over assigned chairs and stormed out. Message 5, 11:15 p.m. I'm getting worried now. Please just tell me you're okay. The tone shift was starting. Anger melting into concern. Or at least, the performance of concern. Message 6, 11:23 p.m. I didn't think you'd actually leave. That was really immature. But I'm sorry if I upset you. Can you please call me? An apology with conditions. Sorry if she upset me. Not sorry for what she did. Sorry for my reaction to it. Message 7, 11:31 p.m. Weston asked where you went. I didn't know what to tell him. Everyone's staring at me now. Please. Weston. Of course Weston asked. Probably felt guilty sitting in my spot all night. Or maybe he didn't feel guilty at all. Message 8, 11:44 p.m. I'm leaving now. I'm coming home. We need to talk about this. You can't just run away from problems. Run away from problems. That was rich coming from someone who'd been running from honest conversation about our marriage for months. Message 9, 11:58 p.m. I'm so sorry. I messed up. I should have fought for us to sit together. I should have introduced you properly to everyone. I was just so focused on making the right impression, and I forgot what actually matters. Please don't shut me out. I'm scared. And there it was. The final message. The one that pulled out all the stops. Acknowledgement of fault. Expression of fear. The exact combination of words designed to make me respond. I set the phone down again. The thing about patterns is that once you see them, you can't unsee them. And this pattern had been developing for months. 6 months ago, she stopped asking about my day. Just stopped. I'd come home, start to tell her about something that happened, and she'd interrupt with stories about work, about presentations she nailed, about strategies Weston helped her develop, about Donald's praise for her initiative. 4 months ago, she started scheduling weekend work sessions. Had to get ahead on the project. had to review materials, had to prepare for Monday meetings. Except she never brought work home. Always met at the office. Always with Weston. 3 months ago, she bought new clothes. Professional wardrobe upgrade, she called it. Tighter fits. Better cuts. She asked my opinion exactly once, seemed disappointed with my response, and never asked again. 2 months ago, we stopped having dinner together. She ate at her desk while working late. I ate alone at the kitchen table. When I suggested we needed to reconnect, she said I was being needy. 1 month ago, she told me I was holding her back. We've been discussing whether to take a vacation, and she said she couldn't afford to be away from work right now. Not with the project in a critical phase. I asked when it wouldn't be critical, and she said I didn't understand professional ambition. Last week, she forgot our anniversary. Completely forgot. Remembered 2 days later and bought expensive wine as an apology. We drank it in silence while she checked her phone every 5 minutes. And tonight, she'd seated me as far away from her as possible while putting Weston in my place. I wasn't angry. That was the strange part. I'd expected to feel rage or betrayal or something volcanic. But sitting there in my living room at midnight, holding a cold cup of coffee, I just felt tired. Tired of being the afterthought. Tired of competing with her career for basic respect. Tired of being introduced as my husband, with the same enthusiasm people use for my dentist. My phone buzzed with a call. Her name lit up the screen. I watched it ring until it went to voicemail. It rang again immediately. Voicemail again. A text came through. I'm 5 minutes away. Please be awake. I was awake, but I wasn't sure I wanted to have this conversation tonight. Or ever. The thing was, I'd already made my decision. Sitting at that table 12, watching her laugh with Weston, seeing her completely forget I existed. That was clarity. Pure, undeniable clarity about what I actually meant to her. Nothing. Or at least, nothing compared to the image she wanted to project at work. I heard her car pull into the driveway at 12:03 a.m. The engine cut off. Car door opened and closed. Her heels clicked up the walkway. Keys jingled at the front door. She came in like a storm. Purse dropped on the entry table. Shoes kicked off. She found me in the living room, still holding that cold coffee. Thank God, she said. I thought. You thought what? My voice was calm. Flat. I thought something happened to you. I thought you were in an accident or... She stopped, seeming to notice my expression for the first time. Why didn't you answer your phone? Didn't feel like it. She blinked. Didn't feel like it? That's right. She moved closer, her eyes scanning my face like she was trying to read a document in dim light. You're angry? No, I said. I'm not. Then what is this? Why did you just leave like that? I set down the coffee cup. You told me not to embarrass you tonight. Mission accomplished. Hard to embarrass you when I'm not even in the same part of the room. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. The seating wasn't my choice. I told you that, right? It just happened. You had no control over where your own husband sat at your company event. It's not that simple. Actually, I said, standing up. It is that simple. It's exactly that simple. She stared at me for a long moment. Her makeup was smudged slightly under one eye. The elegant updo she'd spent an hour perfecting had loosened. You're making this into something it's not, she said. Tell me what it is then. It's a seating arrangement. That's all. You're acting like I committed some terrible crime. I walked past her into the kitchen, dumped the cold coffee in the sink. She followed. People were asking about you, she said. Asking where you went. Do you know how that made me look? How it made you look? I rinsed the cup. That's what you're concerned about. Yes. No. I mean, she pressed her fingers to her temples. You don't understand what it's like in that environment. Everything is optics. Everything is perception. And the perception you wanted was that I didn't exist. That's not fair. I turned to face her. You seated me at a table with vendors and facility staff while you sat front and center with Weston Copeland, who, by the way, I've heard you mention exactly twice in 6 months despite apparently being attached to him all day at work. Her face went pale. Who told you about Weston? Does it matter? Nothing is going on with Weston. He's a colleague. That's all, right? A colleague who sits in my seat at your company events. A colleague whose opinion you value more than mine. A colleague you spend weekends with reviewing project materials. That's work, she snapped. You wouldn't understand because you don't have the same kind of career pressure I have. There it was. The card she always played when cornered. My job wasn't important enough. My career wasn't ambitious enough. My professional world didn't count. You're right, I said quietly. I don't understand how someone prioritizes appearances over their actual marriage. She flinched. I haven't prioritized anything over our marriage. When's our anniversary? What? Our anniversary? What day? She opened her mouth, closed it. Her eyes darted left, calculating. Last week, the 15th, the 12th, and you forgot it completely until 2 days later. I was busy with the project deadline. You're always busy with the project deadline. There's always something more important than us, than me. Her voice rose. That's not true. You know how hard I've worked to get where I am. You know what this promotion means. I do know, because you talk about it constantly. What I don't know is when you stop caring about anything else. I care. She moved closer, reaching for my hand. I stepped back. Her arm dropped. I care about you. About us. Tonight was just bad timing with the seating. I should have pushed back harder. Bad timing, I repeated. Like forgetting our anniversary was bad timing. Like canceling 3 dinner plans in a row was bad timing. Like telling me I was holding you back was just poor word choice. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it then? She was quiet for several seconds. When she spoke again, her voice was smaller. I meant that sometimes you don't understand the pressure I'm under. The expectations. Donald is watching me constantly, evaluating whether I'm promotion material. Weston and I are competing for the same position. Competing, I said. Is that what you call sitting so close your heads touch during speeches? We were just talking. You never looked back? Not once. I counted. 3 hours at that gala, and you never once checked to see if I was okay, if I needed anything, if I was even still there. Her eyes filled with tears. The performance was starting. I'm sorry. I got caught up in conversations, and I lost track. That doesn't mean I don't care about you. You got my seat reassigned so Weston could sit next to you. That's not what happened. Then what happened? Explain it to me. Because from where I sat, literally and figuratively, it looked like you deliberately removed your husband from your side so another man could take his place. The planning committee made the arrangements. I had input, but not final say. And when they told you the arrangements, what did you do? Silence. Did you ask them to fix it? Did you tell them your husband should be sitting with you? Or did you just accept it because having Weston next to you was more convenient? More silence. That's what I thought. She wiped at her eyes, smearing mascara. You're twisting everything, making me sound like a terrible person when all I did was attend a work function. You told me not to embarrass you. Those were your exact words. Don't embarrass you. Like I'm some liability you have to manage instead of your husband. I was just nervous. You know how important this event was. More important than me, apparently. Stop saying that. Her voice cracked. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. There's a difference. She sank into one of the kitchen chairs, head in her hands. What do you want from me? What can I do to fix this? I don't know if you can. Her head snapped up. What does that mean? It means I've been thinking about this for a while now. Tonight just confirmed what I already suspected, which is that I'm not a priority, that your career, your image, your professional relationships matter more than our marriage. And maybe that's fine for you. Maybe that's what you need right now. But it's not fine for me. So what? You're just giving up? Because of one bad night. It's not one bad night. It's 6 months of bad nights. It's a year of you slowly checking out of this marriage while I tried to convince myself it was temporary. That once the project ended, once the promotion came through, once things settled down, you'd come back. I'm right here. No, I said. You're not. You haven't been here in a long time. She stood up, crossing the distance between us. Please, let's just talk about this tomorrow when we're both calmer. When we've had time to process. What's there to process? You made your choice tonight. You chose how you wanted things to look over how they actually are. That tells me everything I need to know. I chose wrong. I admit that. But everyone makes mistakes. This wasn't a mistake. Mistakes are accidents. This was a decision. You decided Weston was better company than me. You decided your colleagues' opinions mattered more than your marriage. You decided I was something to hide instead of someone to stand with. Tears were streaming down her face now. I didn't think of it that way. I swear I didn't. That's the problem. You didn't think about it at all. You didn't think about me. Tell me what to do. Tell me how to fix this. I looked at her. At this woman I'd married 3 years ago. At the stranger she'd become. I don't think you can, I said. Not tonight anyway. What does that mean? It means I need space. It means I need to figure out if this marriage is something worth saving or if we're just postponing the inevitable. Don't say that. Why not? It's the truth. She grabbed my arm. Please don't give up on us. Please. I'll do better. I'll make changes. Just don't walk away. I gently removed her hand. You walked away months ago. You just didn't leave the house. I went upstairs to the bedroom, grabbed a pillow and blanket from the closet. What are you doing? She called after me. Sleeping in the guest room. No, please, don't. But I was already closing the door. The next morning, I woke up to the smell of coffee and pancakes. She was trying. I had to give her that much. I came downstairs to find her in yoga pants and one of my old college shirts. Hair pulled back, no makeup. The version of her I used to know. The version that felt like a stranger now. I made breakfast, she said, gesturing to the table. 2 plates. Butter. Syrup. Fresh fruit. Thanks. We sat down. She watched me like she was waiting for something. Permission to speak, maybe. Or forgiveness she hadn't earned. I called in sick today, she said. Figure we could talk. Figure things out. You never call in sick. I know, but this is more important. I cut into the pancakes. They were good. She'd always been good at the small gestures. It was the big ones she struggled with. I've been thinking all night, she continued. About what you said. About how I've been treating you. And you're right. I have been putting work first. I have been taking you for granted. Okay. She blinked. That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say? That recognizing the problem fixes it. No, but... She pushed food around her plate. I want you to know I hear you. I understand now. Do you? Yes. I've been so focused on proving myself at work that I stopped paying attention to what matters. To you. To us. I set down my fork. Tell me about Weston. Her face went carefully blank. What about him? Everything. How you met. How you started working together. What your actual relationship is. She took a breath. We were assigned to the same project team 8 months ago. He's good at what he does. Strategic. Detail-oriented. We work well together. 8 months. You've been working closely with him for 8 months and mentioned him twice. I didn't think it was relevant. You didn't think your work husband was relevant information? She flushed. Who called him that? Does it matter? Is it accurate? It's a joke. That's what people call colleagues who work together a lot. Right? So when you spent last Saturday at the office reviewing materials, was that with Weston? Hesitation. Yes. And the weekend before that? Yes. And the late nights? The dinners you skip because you're working through lunch and staying late? Most of them, yes. But it's just work. We're trying to land a major client. The presentation is next month. Does he know you're married? Of course he knows. Does he know I exist as anything more than a concept? Have you ever talked about me? Shown him pictures? Mentioned plans we have? Her silence answered everything. That's what I thought. I stood up, carried my plate to the sink. You've created a whole separate life at work where I don't exist. Where you get to be this ambitious professional without the baggage of a husband. And Weston fits into that life perfectly. That's not true. Then why did he ask where I went last night? Why did he care? She followed me to the sink. Because people were wondering. Because it was obvious you'd left and I was upset. Or because he felt guilty sitting in my spot all night. Because even he knew it was wrong. Nothing happened with Weston. Nothing physical. We've never crossed any lines. You don't have to sleep with someone to betray your marriage. You just have to make them more important than your spouse. And that's exactly what you've done. I haven't. You have. Every late night. Every weekend session. Every conversation where you light up talking about his ideas, but barely listen when I talk about my day. Every time you prioritize his opinion over mine. She was crying again. I didn't see it that way. I thought I was just being professional. Building a career. At what cost? I don't know, she whispered. I honestly don't know. My phone buzzed. Text from my brother. You good? Mom said you seemed off yesterday. I'd forgotten I was supposed to call my mother. Added to the list of things that had slipped while I dealt with this. I need to make some calls, I said. Work things. On a Saturday? Some of us don't get to call in sick when life gets complicated. It was a low blow. I knew it. But I was tired of being careful with her feelings when she'd been careless with mine for months. Over the next few days, we existed in the same house like polite roommates. She kept trying to start conversations. Kept offering to cook dinner, watch a movie, go for a walk. I accepted some offers. Declined others. She didn't go to work for 3 days. By Wednesday, her phone was blowing up. Donald calling. Other colleagues messaging. And Weston. Always Weston. I need to go in tomorrow, she said Wednesday night. Donald is demanding an update on the client presentation. Okay. Will you be here when I get home? Where else would I be? I don't know. She trailed off. I'm scared you're planning something. Like what? Like leaving. Like giving up on us completely. I didn't answer because I didn't know what to say. The truth was, I'd already contacted a lawyer, not to file anything yet, just to understand my options. The house was mine, bought before we married. No kids, no complicated assets. A divorce would be clean if it came to that. Thursday, she went back to work. Came home at a reasonable hour for once. 6 p.m. Made dinner. We ate mostly in silence. Friday, she came home even earlier. 5:30. No laptop. No phone calls. I talked to Weston today. She said over chicken and vegetables. I looked up, told him we needed better boundaries, that the late nights and weekend sessions were affecting my marriage. He understood. Just like that. Just like that. She set down her fork. He actually apologized. Said he'd been so focused on the project he hadn't considered how it looked from the outside. He suggested we include more team members in planning sessions. Spread the workload. How noble of him. Don't be like that. Like what? Skeptical that your work husband suddenly developed a conscience. He's not my work husband. And yes, he acknowledged we'd gotten too comfortable working exclusively together. That it wasn't professional. That it wasn't fair to either of our partners. He has a partner? Girlfriend. They've been together 2 years. Does she know how much time you two spend together? She looked down. He said she's mentioned it. That she's uncomfortable with how close we've gotten. Smart woman. We're making changes. That's what matters. I'm making changes. Okay. That's all. What do you want? Applause. You're doing what you should have been doing all along. Setting appropriate boundaries with a colleague. I'm trying here. I know you are. But trying isn't the same as fixing what's broken. She stood up abruptly, chair scraping against the floor. What do you want from me? I've admitted I was wrong. I've apologized. I've made changes at work. What else can I possibly do? I don't know, I said honestly. I genuinely don't know if there's anything that can fix this. So that's it. You've already decided we're done. I've decided that actions matter more than words. And for months, your actions have shown me exactly where I rank in your priorities. Apologies don't erase that pattern. Patterns can change. Can they? Or do people just become better at hiding them? 2 weeks later, she came home early. Face pale. Hands shaking. What happened? I asked. She dropped her bag by the door. There was an incident at work. I waited. Weston made a pass at Kelly from finance. At the office happy hour last night. In front of everyone. And she reported him. Said he'd been inappropriate for weeks. Making comments. Standing too close. He told HR that he thought the boundaries were more flexible here. That based on how things were with me, he assumed the workplace culture was more casual about relationships. I set down my coffee. He blamed you. Not directly, but HR pulled me in today. Asked about our working relationship. Whether there had been anything inappropriate. Whether I'd encouraged his behavior. What did you tell them? The truth. That we worked closely but nothing happened. That I'm married. That I never gave him any indication there was anything between us. Did they believe you? She sank onto the couch. I don't know. Donald was in the meeting. He looked disappointed, like I'd let him down. What about the promotion? They're putting it on hold, pending the investigation. They need to make sure there weren't any conflicts of interest or favoritism involved in our project assignments. I should have felt satisfaction, vindication even, but I just felt tired. Kelly came up to me after, she continued. Said she'd watched Weston and me at the gala. Said the way we interacted made her think he was available. That he seemed single based on how I acted around him. She's not wrong. I know. Her voice cracked. I know that now. I created this situation. I let him think boundaries didn't matter. And now Kelly got hurt. My reputation is damaged. The promotion I worked so hard for is gone. And I did this to myself. Yes, I said. You did. She looked at me, mascara running. Are you happy? Is this what you wanted? No. I wanted you to realize what you were doing before it exploded. But you couldn't see it. Wouldn't see it. I see it now. Too late. Don't say that. Why not? It's true. The damage is done. To your career. To Kelly. To us. She buried her face in her hands. I don't know how to fix this. Some things can't be fixed. Sometimes you just have to live with the consequences. My phone buzzed. Text from the lawyer. Papers were ready whenever I wanted them. I looked at my wife crying on the couch. At the wreckage of what we used to be. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know you are. But sorry wasn't enough. The divorce papers arrived on a Tuesday morning. She was still living in the house, sleeping in the guest room, trying to prove she could change. I handed them to her over breakfast. She stared at the envelope. You're serious? Yes. But I've been doing everything right. Coming home early, setting boundaries, going to therapy for 2 weeks. After 8 months of doing everything wrong, people deserve second chances. You had second chances, and third chances, and fourth chances. Every time I brought up feeling neglected, every time I asked you to prioritize us, that was a chance. You chose not to take them. She opened the envelope with shaking hands. Scan the documents. The house is yours. I'm not asking for anything. It was mine before we married. Prenup was clear. I know. I just thought. She set the papers down. I thought we'd fight for this. I did fight. You didn't notice. So that's it. 3 years of marriage over because of one mistake. It wasn't one mistake. It was 1,000 small choices that added up to you building a life that didn't include me. The gala was just the moment I stopped pretending not to see it. She signed the papers without reading them. Her hand moved mechanically, signature appearing on each line the lawyer had marked. I do love you, she said. I know you don't believe me, but I do. Maybe you do. But love without respect is nothing. And you stopped respecting me the moment my presence became inconvenient. 3 months later, the divorce was final. Clean. Simple. No drama. I ran into her brother at the grocery store. He said she'd taken a position at a different company. Smaller firm. Less prestige. Fresh start. 6 months after the gala, I was having dinner with friends when my phone buzzed. Her name on the screen. A text. I saw that it's been a year since the gala tonight. I keep thinking about that night. About how different things could have been if I'd just asked you to sit with me. If I'd introduced you proudly instead of hiding you. I'm sorry I failed you. I'm sorry I failed us. I hope you're happy now. I read it twice, then deleted it without responding. Some bridges burn completely. Some mistakes don't get undone. I finished my dinner, laughed at my friend's story, and drove home to my quiet house. For the first time in over a year, I felt peace.